Breaking now at noon, pounds of drugs off the streets. How Collier County deputies intercepted these before they made it into our neighborhoods. Also breaking, a man thought to be a shooting victim this morning revealed to be the suspect. His crime that put him at the barrel of a gun. And tackling trash below the waves, a local group of divers is making a difference in Cape Coral this weekend and what they want to do to help you. Breaking right now, a big update from Northport Police. They now say the man who was shot this morning isn't a victim, but actually a suspect in a robbery. Police say the guy was shot while trying to rob a woman at an ATM machine here near the Goodwill along Tamiami Trail and near South Sumter Boulevard. Police found the victim about a half-mile away near the Goodwill and called in a med flight to take him to the hospital. Also breaking, the Collier County Sheriff's Office just announced a huge drug bust. Just look at all of these drugs that were taken in. We're working with the Postal Service, and they seized more than 50 pounds of marijuana and other drugs in just 3 weeks. All of it was heading from Collier County and to Collier County. The Sheriff's Office didn't mention any arrests, and we're working to confirm more information right now. More breaking news, a boat fire on Marco Island. Firefighters just shared these photos on Twitter of the damage. This was at the Calusa Marina. Fire officials say fellow boaters tried to put out the fire, and the firefighters finished the job once they got on scene. 3 people had to be checked out for smoke exposure. We're checking to see if they were firefighters or people on that boat. And breaking right now, the man at the center of an FBI raid is staying in jail without bond. Ian McGuire just appeared before a Charlotte County judge. McGuire is well known in the area for his YouTube video that he shoots around town. Yesterday, Wink News was on scene as deputies worked with FBI agents to remove 36 guns and thousands of rounds of ammunition from his home in Port Charlotte. A judge previously banned the 29-year-old from having guns under a protective order for stalking, and neighbors say the arrests makes them feel pretty nervous for their own families. McGuire also faces charges stemming from an incident in April where deputies say he interfered with a felony battery investigation. Today, the judge ordered him to stay away from people in both cases. President Donald Trump is in Osaka, Japan for the G20 Economic Summit right now. But it's the private meetings on the sidelines of the summit that are often the most important moments of these meetings. Wink News reporter Katherine Johnson has more details from the White House. New at noon, R. Kelly's lawyers want a judge in Chicago to toss a 2019 lawsuit claiming the singer sexually abused a girl more than 20 years ago. Kelly's attorneys say she had until 2002 to sue, but state law can extend deadlines to file in cases where the accuser becomes aware of the abuse later. R. Kelly denies ever abusing anyone. A mother took her son to a drug deal and even gave him marijuana, and now the drugs are affecting her child's health. Cape Coral police say Shannon Orlando started smoking with the boy when he was just 11 years old. Text messages between Orlando and her son show the two consistently smoke together. Authorities say the now 14-year-old has a heart condition. A man convicted of vehicular homicide is waiting to learn his sentence. A jury found Kenneth Graves guilty last night. Prosecutors played this video in court showing the moments before the deadly crash in 2017. The jury only deliberated for about an hour and a half. They determined Graves was guilty of killing Kenya Ojeda in the crash. Families on both sides told us they didn't want to comment. Graves will be sentenced on August 12th. Cleaning up a hidden problem in one of Southwest Florida's favorite waterways. It's not algae and it's not red tide. It's actually garbage. And now a group of scuba divers is doing something about it. Wink News reporter Janae Muchmore has a preview from the Cape Coral Yacht Club. And the state's task force to study and try to prevent blue-green algae will be in Fort Myers on Monday. It's open to the public. It's at the school board building on Colonial Boulevard at 9 o'clock. We've confirmed this meeting will focus on Lake Okeechobee and agriculture around the lake. Fertilizers and nutrients running from farms into the lake have been blamed for algae blooms. You can trust Wink News to be at Monday's meeting. Florida's next generation of water scientists are using grapefruit to better understand Florida's currents and tides. Students at the Florida Gulf Coast University Vester Marine Science Camp are watching how the floating fruit moves in the water. Camp instructor Phoebe Clark says their research also connects to how currents and tides play a role in our own backyard. And a lot of campers say the unique experience has encouraged them to study marine biology. A South Florida man is accused of drugging and raping a teenage girl. Investigators say 18-year-old Jorge Martinez then posted video of the drugged girl on social media. Week News reporter Sarah Answer has the details. And the Democrats running for president are fresh off the first debate and back on the campaign trail. The big issues they'll be facing right after the break. And issues with Boeing will disrupt flight plans into this fall. We have the new earliest date the new planes could be taking off again. Now to Week News Campaign Central, a fiery second night of the Democrats' presidential debate had former Vice President Joe Biden in the hot seat. Week News reporter Laura Podesta is in Miami with the big moments. Money for border security is waiting for President Trump's signature. The House approved the $4.5 billion measure yesterday. House Democrats gave up on efforts to restrict immigration enforcement. Instead, they passed the Senate version, which President Trump is expected to sign. Florida hospitals are getting more money. The Department of Health and Human Services announced it's sending nearly $12 million through the Hospital Preparedness Program to the Florida Department of Health. Senator Marco Rubio says the money is important to make sure hospitals are ready for hurricane season. And speaking of the 4th, Zach, you might have to find a detour during the 4th of July. The Cape Coral Bridge will shut down for the Red, White, and Boom celebration starting at 3 a.m. on Thursday, the 4th. It will reopen at 3 a.m. Friday, July 5th. Cape Coral Parkway from Del Prado Boulevard to the bridge will also be closed at that time. Drivers can use the Veterans Memorial Bridge or the US 41 and Business 41 bridges as alternative routes. Meanwhile, with the festivities happening next week, the city of Cape Coral has to find out how to work around those burrowing owl nests first. Florida Fish and Wildlife is expected to check out the burrows early next week to see if there are any eggs or chicks. If either are present, staff will have to provide more protection during the event. To help make ends meet, Americans are driving their older cars longer. The average age of almost 12 years, and that's a record. New technology and higher quality cars are the main reasons so many people are keeping their cars longer, and it's only going to get better. Analysts expect cars to last much longer over the next 10 years. There's another factor driving the older lifespan of cars: financing. Car loans for 6 or 7 years are pretty common now. And after making that longer-term investment in the vehicle, people are tending to hang on to their rides several years after that. Well, Boeing will take at least until September to fix a newly identified problem on its grounded 737 MAX 8 airplanes. That means the plane will not likely resume flying until at least October, leading to thousands of more flight cancellations. Now, Boeing's also negotiating settlements with the families of the dozens of victims of 2 crashes involving 737 MAX 8 jets, which killed a combined number of 346 people. Today marks 50 years since the Stonewall riots that launched the gay rights movement. A police raid of an underground gay bar in New York City sparked those protests. That was back in 1969. And now it's still a bar and a landmark for people coming to honor those early activists. In 2016, President Obama designated the Stonewall Inn as part of the Stonewall National Monument. It's the first U.S. national monument to tell the story of the struggle for LGBTQ rights. Harrowing moments when a toddler falls out of a second-floor window. Still ahead, how a teenager's quick actions saved that little girl's life. You're watching Wink News, Southwest Florida's news leader. Well, caught on camera, just look at this. The heart-stopping moment. A teenager saves a toddler after she fell from a second-floor window. A 17-year-old says he was just walking down the street in Istanbul, Turkey, when he noticed the toddler playing near an open window. As he got closer, she fell. You can see him catch her in his arms just in time, and fortunately, she was not hurt. Gosh, talk about being at the right place at the right time.
What a good grab, too. I mean, it's kind of hard how fast she was falling from the window, but in terms of our local forecast, likely the only thing falling from our sky today, rain.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Had to try to do
Very
that.
clever.
Scattered storms.
All right, sounds good. Enjoy your start to the weekend and stay cool out there.